Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the chat. We got another lovely episode today. Ashley from Anime NYC. We're here promoting some beautiful people, showing lovely people here from all over the city. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Janna. Did I get it right?
Yep, you did.
Okay, yes. Oh, God. I was like really nervous, but I got it right. So she is here promoting her beautiful Kids Comic Unite. I know I went out of frame, but I'm back here. So we're here promoting. She's doing amazing work. She's bringing together amazing artists throughout the city to promote, publish, get them to do some beautiful children's books. I want you to know this beautiful lady, like any good superhero. What is your origin story? Tell those beautiful folks.
Okay, my name's Janna Morishima, and my origin story is that I moved to New York City in 2001, right after 9/11, and my dream was to break into children's books.
Nice.
I wanted to be an editor. I guess that was or maybe, I don't know, just anything involving children's books. I love children's books.
Nice. What's your go-to? What's your, the children's book that inspired you to get into it?
Maybe George and Martha?
Okay.
You might not even know that.
Like,
it's so old. It's really old.
No, it's fine. Like, I'm a Peter Rabbit kind of fan, but you know.
Oh, Peter Rabbit's good too. Yeah, that's old school. We're really old school. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I didn't know anybody in New York City. Well, okay, I take that back. I knew one person because I had been a grad student and I was doing East European history. And I did a thesis project about artists who defected from the Soviet Union, or from the Soviet bloc, I should say. And for part of that project, that research, I interviewed an artist named Peter Sis, who's a very well-known children's book creator. And he actually defected from Czechoslovakia before the fall of the wall.
Yes.
And so I called him up. And I remembered being so nervous. I was petrified because to me he was this big famous person and I was a nobody. But of course he was super nice and he's like, yeah, come see me. So his studio was in Little Italy. It was like a little walk up. It was super glamorous for me because at that time New York City it was like twinkle lights everywhere for me.
Nice.
And so I remember walking up those little steps and going into his studio. It was like a long, narrow room and it was filled with his artwork and flat files and his desk and art supplies. And anyway, we chatted and he's like, go talk to this person, this person, and this person. So he gave me some names. I called them up and ended up having some informational interviews, and then one thing led to another and I got a job. Nice. At Scholastic, which is a big children's book publisher.
Yeah, that's number one actually. Yes. I think number one is the correct. No, she's like, oh, it's big. You this small little, then it blew out of nowhere. No,
So I always say to people, I love informational interviews because it's such a good way to get the kind of work that you were really looking for. And I don't think people do them enough. Basically, an informational interview is just, you find somebody who's in a field that you're really passionate about, and you just ask them, could I have 20 minutes of your time just to see what do you do, and what do you like about your job? What do you not like about your job? And people love to talk about themselves, right? Just like I'm talking to you about myself.
Yeah. You know what? During the course of doing this show, I find that refreshing. I really think people don't I feel like people don't not want to know them, but they want to know the big names. Oh, this person, I see this person on Instagram and YouTube, but they don't really ever who's the guy behind that guy? Or who's the person that actually gave them a platform to get to where they're at? And that's the people that you sometimes want to talk to because, they've seen that although that guy got that opportunity to highlight himself and become a bigger artist, bigger performer, whatever it is, they're also the people that put them on have seen other people that have gone the opposite way too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want to know exactly, but you do want to see somebody hey, you don't want to do that. Hey, you don't want to. And I think nowadays, and that's another question I usually ask you on my show, is what do you see today that a lot of young artists or creatives are doing that you're like, maybe you shouldn't do that, but or what advice, maybe good words, positivity. But I'm putting pressure on you, I know. Let's ease it up. Let's see how we can work this out.
Advice. I give advice all the time, and then now that I'm putting it on the spot, I'm like, all the advice in my head just went out.
No, because you know what? I don't like giving. unsolicited advice, because it goes through one ear and then out the other. But sometimes, like cautions. There we go. That sometimes are a little bit, when somebody's like, hey, you might not want to go down that street because there's a dog running around wild there. It's, you don't really tell them not to, but you just like let them know, like, you go down that road, that's your choice. And
well, something you said earlier before we started filming makes me think of a piece of advice that I would have for people, which is don't try to do everything by yourself.
Ooh, she stole my line, people.
Yes.
I'll get it.
Yes.
I like
that is absolutely one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give is, and another thing we were talking about is curiosity.
Yes.
So I think if you put the two of those together, which is don't try to do it by yourself and always be curious, the answer goes back to what I was talking about just now with informational interviews, which is like reaching out to people you admire. You would be so surprised by how open most people are. If you do it in a open, like you're not taking too much of them. You want to give more than you take.
You're not
obviously.
You're not entitled to their time.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. I think we're very much in that era of people thinking they deserve certain things, and it causes them that opportunity to learn more.
Yeah.
Because like I remember one time, an artist was like, "Hey, you can email me one time," and I emailed him, and he never responded. And I was just like, "All right, cool. I guess he didn't have that time to give." But that's fair enough. But there's people like that are like, "Oh, he didn't ask me. I don't know what he doesn't know what," and they internalize it. Just not thinking like maybe that guy had something else going on.
Oh yeah. I see that as well. People taking things personally.
Yeah.
So this industry is, well, probably it's the same in any industry, but everybody is super busy. They're super busy. They're wiped out. They're
overworked.
They have too many things on their plate. And so if you reach out and you don't, it doesn't work out the first time, don't think that they're not interested. That's what I would say. I mean, I'm an agent, so my job is to get rejections all the time.
Oh man, I was telling you before, I used to promote in in Times Square, and I think I've gotten a million no's.
Yes.
By the time I've done that job, that nowadays even when people are like, I'm not interested, I'm like, okay, cool, have a great day.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, why are you okay with? You should be devastated that I said no to you. And I'm like, nah, it's like, we're here now, like, let's move on and do something else. It's fine. Yeah. But I see it as an agent, that's actually a really good thing. You actually know what is a real rejection and what is a not right now, correct? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. There's definitely nuances to rejections.
Right. And I think we haven't, well, not we, but some people haven't learned that throughout their careers or their journey of wherever they want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't take things personally and work on your mindset. It's so important. If you really want to make a career in the creative field, it's hard. I think it's a lot harder than a lot of other careers.
I would say go get some mental health checkups from time to time. Like you just, oh my goodness, you go into some dark places when you're creating. And I think a lot, like I met an artist one time, and he could only create in the negative.
Oh.
And, great work, but he had to be in a negative space to do it.
Wow.
And that took him a lot to pull back out. And there's some artists that do that. And I mean, it works for, everybody has their own creative way of getting it done, but definitely need to keep your mental awareness. Very open.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So how is it going for you today at NYC? Sorry, Anime NYC? Because we're here.
Well, so let's see. I did a panel. It was called Webcomics and the Future of Comics, Future of Graphic Novels, something like that. I moderated it, and I had really amazing people on the panel. And I told everybody in the audience that I organized a whole panel basically for one person, which was me. Because I'm like you, I'm really curious, and I wanted to hear from people who are smarter than I am about where everything is heading in the industry. I'm
liking the webcomic scenes, just that endless scrolling. It's just a new format. The art that comes out of it is so interesting. The fact that instead of like doing full pages, it's actually turned to the side. And you can scroll down and see all this action, and the flow is so different from what you read in regular comic books, or even like the Comixology. They still have the same setup as regular comic books, but webcomics just have that like flow to it.
Very true. I actually haven't looked at Comixology in a really long time. I didn't even remember that. Yeah, you're right. The format's different.
But they have an interesting format as well. They have kind of like this cinematic view. So certain comics, not the old school ones, but the newer ones, like it actually has dynamic, like say the panel is here, you get the full page and you click the page, it'll start at one panel, then it'll shift to the next panel, and then it'll like, say it's a big splash page, it'll spread out slowly. And so you could, it's very cinematic. So it's an interesting approach that they have as well on Comixology.
Yeah, there's no one right or wrong way to go about it. And I expect that the number of different platforms and modes for experiencing comics is just going to keep growing exponentially.
I mean, like, I would love to do an experiment with like a scroll. Like, remember those old school scrolls? And they always tell a nice story, and it was just beautiful art, and you can just pull it out and look at it and enjoy it, and then you roll it back up, and then like something like that would be like, I think it would be very phenomenal to reproduce again. We don't have things like that, and I mean it's outdated, but it would probably be a more novelty to do something like that. But it'll be fun though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember just roll out a scroll and like, oh, this is dope action. You play away. But so let's talk about your
my community?
Yeah, please. Like that.
Okay.
We're working it. Don't worry, we're working for you. We got this. I'll pull out the questions.
So, Kids Comics Unite is an online community for writers and artists who are interested in making comics for kids and young adults.
Nice.
So, kids could be as young as 4 or 5 years old. Young adults could go up to like 18 years old. So it's basically a very wide age range.
You're playing the game. You're playing the long game. I got you. I see. Awesome.
Yeah, but it's a place for people to go to exchange information, basically.
Nice.
Because we were talking about this earlier. I think that in this day and age, we are heading towards ever greater transparency.
Yes.
And it's hard. In the old days of publishing, information was very asymmetrical. So, big corporations had a lot of information and had a lot of power, and individuals didn't. And I think that the power balance is shifting. So.
Well, I mean, we got some really great platforms. I don't know how much longer we're going to have them because things are shifting again there as well. But nowadays, you can go on YouTube, build a community, and you're good. There's a really, I always bring up this book. It's it started off as an article by Cameron, I think it's something Kelly. I forgot his first name. But it's called 1,000 True Fans. And when I read that, I was like, this is what I want as an artist. I don't want a whole bunch of people. I don't need a million people to buy my book. I just need 1,000 true fans, and they'll support me. And that's the thing I see on YouTube. These guys have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and
YouTube is amazing. People who have millions and millions of followers, and
even if
they're
have
like
5.
20 years old.
But even if you have like 5 followers, solid followers, or like even Twitch, and you have a good following there, 100 people, 200 people, that can keep you going pretty much on like those platforms like Patreon, where you see artists flourish on that, and all they do is maybe draw once a month, print something. Here, guys, this is for you guys that support me. I'll mail it to your house. There you go. And that's an amazing feat that we have now, that we don't have to go to these corporations and give up a piece of us. Like I'm sitting down watching, and also have met other artists who have signed that contract, and 10 years later, can't even touch their creation. Like it's literally their soul that they just give away. And it's like, man, what if you had that one idea and you gave it away, and now it's so hard for you to recreate something else for you? I mean, there's that artist that just had that, think about the artist that had that one idea, and you flourish from it, and then the other artist that had that one idea gave it away, and now it's just like that haunts him. Like, so it's a really interesting field that we're in right now. And
I should recommend to you, there's an article by a venture capitalist named Lee Jean, and it's called 100 True Fans, and it's sort of like an update to the original article by, is it Kevin Kelly?
Kevin Kelly, yes, you got it right, dude.
Yeah, anyway, you should read it. It's really good.
Okay.
It's very, very interesting.
All right. Lee Chan.
Lee Jean, L-I and then J-I-N. And I don't remember the exact name of the article, but it's basically like 100 True Fans. 100
True Fans.
Yeah, and she's explicitly referencing the original article by Kevin Kelly and talking about how things have developed and changed.
I have maybe 2 or 3 of those in my life right now. Man, when I say they show up for me, every shape of way. Like, I remember when COVID hit, like one of my clients who's a big fan of mine, she came through for me. She gave me work, she bought products, she got stuff done. She was just, how can I help you, Sean? And I was like, wow. So, like, you know, when you get those people in your life, think of it, if you had like at least 20 of those people in your life, you'd be pretty well off. Because they don't only buy for you, they buy for friends, family. They want to make sure that everybody knows what you're about. And I mean, as an agent, you probably you get to see that a lot, like for your clients, where they're like at something like this, and somebody comes up to them and like, you're like, oh my God, it's you again? And they're and you're not saying it in a mean way, just like, oh my, you're here again. Yeah, I bought some books, and you know, every time you're at a convention, they come and see you, shake your hand. So that's a really exciting thing. I'm trying to, like, you know, share with the community out there. So that's great. So I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
I know we're here, you're busy. Thank you for giving me your time, I appreciate you. So I usually have one thing I ask people. Okay. What is, in one sentence, something you will tell a future artist or creator out there? You know, just a sentence, a quote, something that represents you, that you feel.
Believe in yourself.
Okay. You keep it simple. Believe in yourself. You don't want to expand on it. You just like that one. Roll the dice. Boom. Yeah. I think that's simple and clean. Let's keep it simple and clean. We're gonna keep it simple and clean. Yo, thank you.
Very, very nice.
No, thank you for being a part of the show. I appreciate it. Tell them again. Can they find you? How can they support you?
So it's very easy to find me in Kids Comics Unite. So Kids Comics Unite, like I said, it's a free online community. We do live events all the time, and one type of live event that we do on a regular basis is a book launch interview, which is basically where we talk to a creator who has a book coming out. We talk about how did they get their book deal with a publisher, how did they get an agent, what is their creative process behind the scenes. So it's kind of about deconstructing how the whole thing happened. So we try to make things very, very practical and very actionable. So
I like deconstruction. That's good. Yo, amazing.
So join the community. Anybody who's an artist or a writer is welcome to join. And
we'll leave some information down below for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And guys, thank you again. This is another episode of The Chat. Hakuna Matata. I'll see you again next time. Bye.